Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking chipping, and this sort of shot puts the fear into a lot of golfers. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about 3 of the major faults that I see, and I'm going to give you 3 great fixes to make this shot a lot less stressful. Now straight away, look at the scenario that we've got. Big uphill slope up to the green, so I've got to make sure I clear this very front edge, otherwise then the ball's going to come back down to my feet. Also, actually in this particular instance, the flag is on the other side of the green, so I've got to try and choose a club selection that fits the shot I'm trying to play. So I am very one-dimensional with my chipping. I always use a 58 degree, but for this time I've gone for a 54, which will, I don't need to hit the ball as far, I don't need to hit the ball as hard. I can then try and pinpoint my landing area at approximately 2/3 of the way, maybe closer to a half of the way, and then let the ball release. And now again, in this instance, it's very much downhill. But the main thing about today's video and today's lesson, it's based on lessons that I give on the driving range on a daily basis, and that's why I hope that these tips are a lot more relatable to you for when you're playing. So 3 major problems that I see on a day-to-day basis. Numero uno, the position in which we hold the golf club. I see far too many people holding it right down on the shaft of the club. What that does, and I personally think, if you kind of hold it down on the shaft of the club, you end up down here. Now, when you end up down here and the posture becomes poor, you start to use the arms a little bit too much, and you stop using your bigger muscles, you stop using the rotation in the body. And that's a problem, because now the bigger muscles, which would have been a lot more consistent, have been swapped out for the smaller muscles, which are a lot more inconsistent, a lot more movable. So that lower grip, this position here, and then combining that with fault number 2 is the ball position being too far back. This has now pushed the hands forward, and it's effectively lifted the bounce off the ground, and it's put the leading edge, which is the very bottom groove, into the ground. So now we're in a position where we've got poor posture, very limited ability to rotate the bigger muscles, and therefore using the arms, and we start to see that digging action. Okay, and that is an absolute no-no. So we start to see too many shots that you got the hands forward, you got the posture down, you've got the grip down, and then you get that poor strike. Okay, you've got very little control, even when you do strike it nicely, very little control of your distance. So what I want you to try and do, I want you to hold the position on the club as completely normal as you would do. Okay, now I definitely don't want to see a normal distance from the ball, so you're going to bring yourself in a little bit closer. So the shaft of the club that would normally sit like this is just going to be a little bit higher up. Okay, so the heel of the club is just going to pop off the ground a touch, and the toe of the club is going to go slightly down. All right, now big question, why? Okay, first thing is that we can get the club to work more across the grass. We can get that descending blow into the ball, we can use the bounce of the club to glide through the grass, and we can become a lot more consistent in the way that we strike the ball. And then, because you're using the bigger muscles, you're able to get more consistency in the quality of your ball striking. So problem number 1, gripping down on the club too much is going to cause poor posture. Okay, they're kind of 1 and 2, but we'll call it 1 for the moment. Number 2 is ball position being too far back. A lot of people just want to stab it on up there. Very, very inconsistent with using just the arms and just the wrists, and not utilizing the bigger muscles, which are going to be more repetitive in the action that we're looking for. And then number 3, using your body, using your hips and your shoulders together. So I've already touched on using the bigger muscles, so we're going to get ourselves into a position at setup that we can do that, and then the fix is going to be making sure that we utilize it. So talking through the fixes now, I've already mentioned club, get the normal type of grip. Okay, so not too low down. You can grip down a ½ an inch or so, but nothing major, not necessary, because I don't want to sacrifice posture. Still want to get a nice straight back, because we still want this movement to occur. We still want some consistency in the way the hips and the shoulders work together. And this is actually the one shot in golf where your hips and shoulders work exactly the same. Obviously in the full golf swing, you've got a 90-degree shoulder turn and a 45-degree hip turn, and on a putt you've got no hip turn and just the shoulders rocking. So this is one shot that's right in between the two, where your hips and the shoulders can rotate together, okay? So we've got you, so if we talk through setup, we've got the normal, I'm gonna go normal grip position, I'm gonna go good posture, I'm gonna just get the club so it's just tilted up a little bit higher so the toe of the club just pops into the ground. That therefore brings me slightly closer to the ball, making sure that my hands are not forward. So in doing so, I'm gonna make sure the ball position is in the center of the stance. As the ball position is now in the center of the stance, I'm more over the ball and I'm able to kind of use the bounce of the club. Too far back in the stance or hands too far forward takes the bounce out, and we use the leading edge to dig, and that's what we would definitely want to avoid. So grip, toe down a little bit closer to the ball, ball position in the center, hands relative to the ball pretty much in line with it, so again not too far forward, so pretty much in line with the ball as we set up. And we're just going to use the hips and the shoulders, and I'm going to work my arms out towards where you are on the camera, so they're just working out that way, using the hips and the shoulders. And I just want to brush the bounce of the club against the ground to get nice connection, just like that on the golf ball. So I've got very limited movement in my wrists, I'm just using my hips and my shoulders just to kind of create a nice consistent pendulum action. It's going to feel very similar a shot to a putter in regards to the fact that we're taking the wrist out of the equation. It's just a very short little chip shot and allowing the ball to release further forward. So again, always do this for every single golf shot you play. Go through a routine, okay? So clubbing behind the ball, normal grip, stand it up a touch, get the toe into the ground, bring yourself a bit closer. Okay, good strong posture so you can utilize the big muscles in your rotation. Okay, from there, ball position definitely in the center. If you do want to hit a lower shot, you can move it a ball's width towards your back foot, but don't go in line with your back foot or outside of your back foot. That's an absolute no-no. Very small, slight adjustment for the ball position for height. So let's stick with middle of the stance. Good posture. Club's going to work out straight as possible relative to my target line. That's the feeling I always try and get, because again, I see a lot of faults that come too much on the inside here. Too much on the inside, you see how low the club is. Okay, so that gives us a good chance of A, shanking it, don't want to say that word out loud too often, and B and C, top and thin. Very, very common shots. Thin is the most common shot I see, where golfers just pull it in here and then just flip the wrist on the way through. So we're always trying to feel that relative to target, that first kind of few inches of the backswing is working along on a straight line relative to the target. But the shoulders are still turning. This is where it gets confusing. Don't let the club follow the shoulders, okay? Let the shoulders and the arms, let the shoulders rotate and let the arms work away, keeping the hands in front of the chest as you go back, okay? So the shoulders and the hips will rotate, the arms will stay in front of the chest, and we're gonna get a nice strike as well. So we've got good posture, we've got good grip, we've got good ball position, and we've got good consistency in the way the body's moving, and a good swing path relative to the target. Swing path is still very important on such a small swing like this, making sure the club's working straight back towards the target. The setup fundamentals are going to get you in position to do that, and they're also going to get you into position to create the correct type of strike. Guys, I hope this all makes sense. Lots of points in there, but the big thing is making sure you've not got those 3 faults that I mentioned at the start of the video, and that you do have those 3 fixes that I've also mentioned. And then a little fourth additional bonus point in there was mentioning about the actual swing path as well, making sure that the club doesn't just follow the shoulders, it works relative to the target, feeling like it's straight down the target line. Now obviously it's not, and obviously it's not because the shoulders are turning, so it is working on an arc, but it's working on a relatively straighter arc, okay? So I'm trying to give you feels rather than mechanical perfect angles. I want to give you a feel like it's working straight down the target line as your shoulders turn. And as you can see, straight turn creates that little semicircle around the body. Whereas if you only turn, everything works very, very flat. So massively important to understand the difference between the two, but also massively important to be able to implement it. So guys, I hope this video helps. Huge area of the game that I see a lot of golfers struggling, but not really actually not actually work on as much. Everyone always wants to get rid of the long shots. Everyone wants more distance, less slice, better ball striking. But even with the ball striking and the distance that you may have already, if you can improve this area of the game, I am confident that 8 out of 10 golfers will lower the scores. So give it a try, drop me a comment below. Please also hit that like button, smash that like button in fact, because I feel like this is a tip that can massively help the majority of golfers out there. Also subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, thank you for checking me out again. And there's lots more content coming Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. Guys, from a very sunny, beautiful Dubai, see you again very soon.